First off, we've got a brand new title with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, I know Ubisoft isn't the most popular with all of you, but an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan is one we had to check out. It plays two characters, Naoi, a stealthy shinobi, and Yasuke, an absolute unit of a samurai. You can switch between the two on the fly, and each one handles totally differently. Because gameplay's definitely an upgrade in this one for me, with better detection systems and interactive environments. The story in this Assassin's Creed is pretty good too. I'd say the narrative maybe lacks the emotional punch of earlier titles, like Origins or Odyssey, but it's basically the Assassin's Creed formula, with a Tenchu twist. Sneaky assassinations? Yep. Swords clashing in the moonlight? It has everything you'd expect. Full seasons and stealth that finally look decent again. I mean, for a ninja game, it's not the best in the series, but it's still better than what you get in most open-world RPGs. Overall, this one's a must-play of the Creed fans. Alright, now let's talk about the game that turns one more turn into Why is the Sun Up? Civilization has finally returned after a long wait, and it's looking to reinvent the formula just enough to drag us all back in. This new title introduces some bold changes to systems, streamlining the early game, shaking up diplomacy, and giving us more moment-to-moment decisions. Now, there's still a few minor issues with some of these systems, but we expect those to be ironed out in future. Visually, the game has received a full glow-up, making the game feel as charming and immersive as ever. If you love strategy, or just like dominating the world with weird religions and elephants, Civ 7 is the game to check out this year. Alright, indie fans, this one's for you. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is Bethesda and Machine Games swinging for the fences. First-person treasure hunting, whip-swinging action, and that classic John Williams flair. It's set between Raiders and Last Crusade, and from what we've seen, this is not just Uncharted but with wrinkles. We've got puzzles, tombs, traps, and that perfect mix of mysticism and danger. Also, you get to whip people in combat. Machine Games knows how to do first-person storytelling. Wolfenstein 2, for example, and if they nail the tone and pacing here, Great Circle could be the best indie game since, well, ever. Also, shout out to Troy Baker for sounding uncannily like Harrison Ford. Dude went full archaeologist.
What do you mean if I could keep up?
You got yourself a deal, Noah. Once I catch a boat...
Alright, this is not a drill. Majima is now a pirate. Yeah, the same guy who used to smash people with baseball bats and pop out of trash cans. Now he's rocking a pirate hat and cruising around Hawaii. And somehow it works. In fact, it works too well. This spin-off drops the neon grime of Kamurocho and trades it for lush beaches and swaying palm trees. The story kicks off with Majima waking up on an island with no memory, no shirt, and a ship that somehow answers to him. From there, it's straight into over-the-top naval battles, treasure hunts, and dramatic monologues about the meaning of freedom. This game looks absolutely ridiculous, but it's surprisingly deep and playable. So don't be put off by the fact it's over the top. Combat is classic like a dragon. Fast, brutal, hilarious. One minute you're punching dudes in Hawaiian shirts, the next you're firing cannonballs at rival pirate gangs, mid-surf. There's even a parrot sidekick that occasionally squawks insults during fights. I wish I was joking. Honestly, this one might be the most fun thing you'll play all year.
There's still tons of Yakuza who need you to show them a home.
This next one's been out for a while, and it's another example of Ubisoft's comeback. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is a side-scrolling action platformer with time powers, tight combat, and level design that makes Metroid fans proud. You play as Sargon, a young warrior who's tasked with uncovering the secrets of the mysterious Lost Crown, a relic with the powers to control time itself. The twist? He can bend time, slow it down, or rewind it to solve puzzles, dodge traps, and dominate enemies in ways that feel new and engaging.
But we only got here hours ago.
The combat system is awesome, with quick combos, dodging, and special abilities that let you feel like an acrobatic powerhouse. This isn't your dusty PS2 Prince. This is a modern reimagining with killer music, gorgeous animation, and buttery gameplay. Honestly, it kind of blindsided everyone. People expected a filler title, but it ended up being one of the best pure gameplay experiences Ubisoft has dropped in years. Alright, time to rip and tear and ride a cybernetic dragon. Doom: The Dark Ages is the prequel nobody saw coming. I've been lucky to play this one a little early, and the new focus on parrying and melee does not, you might be relieved to hear, turn post-2016 Doom into an entirely new game. It's different, yeah, but you're still the Doomslayer, just this time it's medieval. In gothic armor, brutal melee weapons, siege beasts, and yeah, still lots of very angry demons exploding into chunks. Between the bolts of more familiar dooming, ID has some new, ridiculous toys for you to play with. There are gigantic Atlan mechs and a literal dragon, which I can only imagine were products of a particularly enjoyable brainstorming session at ID's office a few years back. This is Doom and Chainmail, and if it works, it might be the most absurdly fun single-player FPS of the year.
Angela?
Our next title, Silent Hill 2, is the psychological horror game.
It's me.
This remake came out in October 2024 and has a complete overhaul of visuals, sound, and gameplay. It's still James Sunderland, still that foggy nightmare town, still Pyramid Head showing up like your worst intrusive thought, and I've gotta say, it's still unmissable for any fans of survival horror. The sound design is where this remake really shines, amplifying the creepy dread in ways that'll make you squirm in your seat. The iconic radio static now feels like it's crawling under your skin, and still manages to tap into the same unsettling, soul-crushing vibe from the original. The atmosphere is meticulously crafted, with every creak of the floorboards and every distant scream feeding into that feeling that something's always watching you. Silent Hill 2 in 2025 is the kind of memorable experience you'll be talking about for years to come.
Survive.
This new Dynasty Warriors game, Origins, actually goes hard. This isn't just another one guy versus 1,000 angry soldiers situation. Okay, it is, but it's prettier, smoother, and weirdly satisfying. Dynasty Warriors Origins takes the classic chaos and cranks it up with better enemy AI, sharper graphics, and some genuinely fun new mechanics. It's built around the idea of one lone hero commanding the battlefield. You're not just button mashing through identical mobs. Now you're stringing together air combos, triggering massive battlefield-wide effects, and pulling off cinematic finishers that honestly look too cool for something this ridiculous. But there's also real strategy here. Base capturing matters, troop morale shifts the battle, and unit management gives it that subtle RTS-light feel. You can actually turn the tide if you know what you're doing, or at least look awesome while trying. It's still over the top, still full of iconic warlords with swords bigger than their bodies. But Origins brings you back to that sense of scale and drama that the series had kinda lost. If you want something loud, fast, and deeply cathartic, this is your therapy. You ever wonder what would happen if you mashed up Fallout and Hot Fuzz? Yeah, Atomfall looks like that. And I mean that in the best way possible. Set in 1950s Britain after a nuclear event that definitely is not Windscale, Atomfall throws you into a countryside full of paranoia, radiation, cults, and tea. Lots of tea. It's being made by Rebellion, the Sniper Elite devs, and they've released a full open world with survival, exploration, and story-driven weirdness. The game got an 8 out of 10 on IGN, and I think that's pretty fair. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's a great apocalyptic title to kick off the year. Expect Geiger counters clicking, NPCs muttering about the truth, and the kind of dark British humor that makes you laugh and feel uncomfortable at the same time. If you've ever watched a trailer and just sat there slack-jawed for a minute, that was probably Black Myth Wukong. This game is ridiculous, in a good way. You're the Monkey King, based on Journey to the West, and you're not here to mess around. The gameplay is Souls-like, but with fluid animations, wild transformations, huge bosses, and a mythology-heavy vibe that feels fresh compared to the usual medieval fantasy. You got staff spins, spell combos, monkey kung fu, and bosses that feel like they belong in a fever dream, directed by Zhang Yimou. Some people say the game is too boss-focused, but hey, at least it's not pretending to be anything it isn't. And listen, this game looks incredible. It's one of the few games that feels truly next-gen. Black Myth could be the biggest non-Western breakout since Sekiro.
Fortune
favors the brave.
Alright, get your torch and don't forget your savior schnapps. Kingdom Come Deliverance is back.
Keep the peace, and we won't have any problems.
The first game was janky brilliance, where you played a blacksmith's son, who couldn't even swing a sword yet. And that was the point. You earned every skill, every duel, every coin, every relationship. It all mattered. Now the sequel takes that AAA charm and turns everything up to a polished modern title. More locations, bigger quests, full voice acting, improved combat, and more moral ambiguity than a medieval soap opera. You'll be solving murders, getting in political drama, possibly becoming a drunk monk again. It's gonna be glorious. And yes, it still hates autosaves. The game doesn't want to babysit you. It wants to drop you in 15th century Bohemia. If you liked Kingdom Come the first time around, this might be your game of the year. If you didn't, well, get historically good. Hellblade 2 isn't just a game, it's an experience. Psychological, mythological descent into madness, grief, and Norse nightmares. The first game was intimate, raw, and experimental. The sequel? It looks like it's doing all that again, but with blockbuster-level production, and some of the best facial animations in the industry. It's combat meets art house cinema, and while it's probably not for everyone, this isn't button mash to win. It's one of those rare titles that aims for something more than just fun. The story of Senua 2 is relatively short, but still very engaging. Taking about 9 to 10 hours to complete, despite its brevity, it's a quality experience that leaves a lasting impression. Expect to feel disturbed, expect to feel sad, expect to feel like you're losing your grip, but in a good way.
That's black and white.
Cyberpunk is still one of the top single-player games you can play right now in my opinion, and its expansion isn't just extra content. Phantom Liberty is the real deal, the actual redemption arc for Cyberpunk. It drops you into Dogtown, a grimy warlord-controlled district of Night City, and immediately throws you into a spy thriller with Idris Elba. Yeah, that Idris Elba. His character Solomon Reed is your handler, your threat, and possibly your best chance of survival in a story that's tense, layered, and full of gray moral choices. Everything's tighter this time. The storytelling is sharper, the side quests are more meaningful, and the new gameplay systems, like revamped cyberware, smarter enemy AI, and better vehicle combat, actually make it feel like Cyberpunk 2.0. Dogtown has its own personality, a mix of war zones, slums, and corporate ruins, where every corner is some weird story waiting to happen. You'll be dealing with rogue militias, desperate civilians, and sleek Netrunner spies who hack into your brain mid-conversation. Phantom Liberty is the best reason to come back, and if you stuck with it, you're about to be rewarded. Now this is how you do a licensed game right. Aliens Dark Descent dropped under the radar, but trust me, it's a sleeper hit that strategy nerds and sci-fi horror fans should absolutely dig into. It's real-time tactics meets pure panic. You control a squad of Marines against an overwhelming xenomorph infestation, and every decision feels like life or death. One wrong move, bam, someone's chest is bursting. And the longer you go, the more your squad breaks down, mentally, physically, and emotionally. The game is about managing them as much as it is about taking down alien enemies. Man, there's something I just love about isometric games. You can't beat the immersion you get from the over-the-top angle. I highly recommend this one. It's gritty, smart, and drenched in atmosphere. The kind of game where you really feel the weight of your actions.
You like that?
Stalker 2 was cooking for what feels like forever, and now that it's finally here, we've got a game that the fans of the original will love. This game is moody, brutal, and weirdly beautiful. You're dropped into the Chernobyl exclusion zone, a massive open world full of mutants, anomalies, and dudes who will absolutely shoot you for walking into the wrong shack. What sets it apart is how corrupted everything feels, and I'm not just talking about the enemies. The zone itself is the main character here. 1 minute it's calm and eerie, the next you're sprinting from a bloodsucker and getting zapped by an invisible electro-death vortex. It doesn't hold your hand either. You're scavenging, managing your gear, and constantly feeling one bullet away from total disaster. This game is definitely a good one for people who like survival horror and open-world games, and definitely for fans of the Fallout and Metro series. Baldur's Gate 3 has been out for a while, but let's be honest, it's not done with us yet. People are still rolling the dice, seducing vampires, and accidentally fireballing their own party well into 2025. Why? Because this is straight up one of the best RPGs ever made, period. It's deep, reactive, beautifully written, and hilarious in that how is this allowed kind of way. The game is a storytelling and choice-driven masterpiece that, honestly, if you haven't played it yet, now is the time. Every playthrough is different, every class feels unique, and every dumb idea you have, the game probably has a response for it. Now, the turn-based combat isn't for everyone, but it's totally worth giving a shot. Just cancel your plans for the next 3 weeks if you do.
Anytime.
Time has come.
This next one dropped in 2024, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth takes one of the most beloved games of all time and turns it into a full-on modern blockbuster, with double the drama and a combat system that feels like a playable action movie. And it works. Cloud's still brooding, Sephiroth's still out here being hotter than morally acceptable, and the party banter alone deserves an award. Add in chocobo races, mini-games for days, and an emotional gut punch every few hours, and a battle system that somehow feels tactical and chaotic at the same time. This is easily the best title of 2024, for me.
So it's my turn?
Even if you're not into JRPGs, this thing is just pure quality. And if you are into them, this might be the most generous, beautifully unhinged RPG Square Enix has ever made. Of course, you might want to play Integrate first.
The shadows are getting stronger.
If you missed this one back in the day, or just want an excuse to relive your emo teen years, Persona 3 Reload is the perfect choice to play right now. This one's a full-on reimagining of a JRPG classic that pretty much invented the whole fight monsters by night, go to school by day thing. But now it's got slick visuals, new voice work, and quality of life upgrades that make it feel like it dropped yesterday. You play as a high schooler who joins a secret group fighting creepy shadow monsters during something called the Dark Hour, a hidden hour that appears at midnight when everyone else is frozen in time. The big draw here is the vibe. It's melancholy, mysterious, and the killer soundtrack is surprisingly
This way. Even if you do forget about
Combat's
us,
turn-based with a twist.
I'll remind you.
Persona combos and managing your team's mood. It all adds up to something way deeper than it looks on the surface. If you're new to Persona, Reload is the perfect entry point.
Don't tell me you've forgotten the promise.